Good evening everyone and welcome to Gavra Racing. It is the GT1 series for round 1 of the championship here at one of the most famous tracks here, certainly here in the United Kingdom, and probably more known around the world as being one of the touring car tracks. It is Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit, and of course there is two layouts to this track. We are going to be using the proper Grand Prix layout with corners like Clearways, Paddock Hill Bend, Graham Hill Bend to unfold and the drivers to test, really test their endurance here tonight. For those of you who are tuning in and don't know me, I'm JamesHead14. I'm going to be taking you through the action here tonight for GT1, I should say. I'm very used to calling something else Division 1, goodness me. But we are here for the GT1 series, and I say, and we are here at Brands Hatch. The race format, for those of you tuning in and don't know the race format that we're going to be having tonight, we are going to be here for about 2 hours. I know, 2 hours. It's going to be a long enduring stream from us all, and certainly for the drivers out on track. We have got a 10-minute practice session for the drivers to get used to the conditions and to the cars around here. You can reach around 155, 160 mile an hour running down the start-finish straight, down the Cooper Straight. I do apologise, I've just gone and tried to invite some people there. Practice, we've got 10-minute qualifying, we've got 10-minute practice, 10-minute qualifying, which is where the real nitty-gritty gets down to here in GT1 series. And then for the race, we have an hour and a half race, 90 minutes worth of racing here tonight. I, again, will not be in race director mode. I'm normally used to going into race director mode. You can do this way, but I'm going to have to retire from the car out on track and then spectate through that way. So apologies about that. It is something that you might just have to get used to at the start of the stream. But we are here, very good attendance here tonight. We've got 10 drivers out on track. So we've got Sigvez and Nico, who took the win last week in pre-season. We've got Marco, don't think he was there last week, Marco, so good to see him here. Math Gamer, we've got Cypher Knight, Javier Rands, GTSR12, Snaker 1996, Max Fly 83, Ibrick and Bowie there right at the bottom. Quite a few familiar names there for those of you who did tune in to pre-season last week when I streamed this on the channel. For those of you who haven't tuned in, we have got a lot of good drivers here tonight. 12 drivers now. Schwami and Back's Console Planet have also just joined in, so we should be getting going very, very shortly indeed for 10 minutes practice, 10 minutes of qualifying, and then an hour and a half race, as I say. And of course, given that this is an endurance race, we should be seeing a lot of pit stops around here tonight. It depends on how the tyres go and the fuel goes, but we are going to be seeing definite pit stops around here tonight in Brands Hatch. Relative to lap times, about a minute and 20, I would say, a minute and 25 seconds possibly an average lap time around here for the GT1s, especially if that fuel is on a low level. But in the meantime, we should be getting going very, very soon indeed. Hopefully there's going to be no lag issues or disconnections from the lobby or anything like that. Good evening to those of you who are tuning in. As soon as I've just said that, commentators curse already. Barry's just disconnected there. So that is a shame. Thomas ESR Chef tuning into the comment section saying good evening guys. Good evening to ESR Chef there who is tuning in. And of course, if you are tuning in for the very first time, I do like a little bit of interaction going on between myself and the comment section. I'll be checking them regularly throughout practice, throughout the qualifying and throughout the race. So if you do have any questions, or if you do have like any general notes that I might miss out on track, then do let me know, because I'm a very friendly person at the end of the day, and I'd like to hear your interaction as well as just get to know a bit more about me. And for those of you who are tuning in and don't know me whatsoever, I'm an affiliated commentator to TTG Esports. Very thrilled to have them to be commentating on their behalf here. I've also it's not my first time at all here in Gavra Racing. I've been doing the Academy for the last 3 seasons, as well as the Clio Cup as well. So there's a bit of a change from what I'm normally used to in the Academy and in the Clio Cup. But the GT1s do prove its own challenge, and I think, especially around here at Brands Hatch tonight, where you have got a very technical first sector, that hairpin can catch the Druid's hairpin can catch people out there. That's up at turn 3. I will take you through the track in the practice session especially. But we do have 13 drivers now here. Interceptor has just tuned in as well, has just joined the session as well, so we should be getting going very soon. I'm just going to check the Discord to make sure everything is how it should be and everything is running to time. We should be starting, I think we started pre-season 8 the UK time, so 9 Italian time. Barry is having a few disconnection problems. Hopefully we can get that fixed. And just to come on to the weather here tonight, the weather is going to be light cloud, overcast and clear. So if you are wondering, there's going to be no rain whatsoever. If you're wanting rain, come and tune in next week, because Donington is going to have light rain in the race. I've had a look on the weather forecast for that. But we should be going very soon. I think we're just waiting on Bowie to come back and Aled possibly to join as well. But in the meantime, we are just going to be waiting until we get the go-ahead to begin. And of course, the Mercedes CLK LM car is the cars that we're going to be using out on track. These cars can reach in excess of around 190 mile an hour. Of course, I don't think they'll be reaching that sort of speed. An average speed around here, I think, for these cars will be around 120, 125 mile an hour, especially down the 2 straights that this track does provide, of course. Brands Hatch providing 2 straights, which, of course, is the Pilgrim's Drop, going down the hill through Sector 1 and into Sector 2. We've also got the start-finish straight with the Brabham straight, I should say. And then we've also got the run down towards Clearways, the final corner and Clark Curve, and where the pit lane is. That is going to be very interesting to see. There's a very tactical pit lane entry in here as well. Quite a wide, expensive car. It's going to be very difficult for the drivers to get that stopped, navigate the little chicane and then get themselves into the pit. It is going to be quite something to see here tonight. But we should be getting going, as I say, very shortly indeed. Interceptor and Barry are having a few connection problems at the minute. Hopefully we will be getting going very soon indeed. And Sig saying, sorting this out, start at 5 past. And there we are. Dead on time, just about a minute late there. But we are starting here for free practice. It is 10 minutes, 2.42 mile in length, 9 corners here out in Brands Hatch. There are more corners counting on the real life. And as you can see in the bottom right hand side of your screen, Sigres and Nico on my friends list, fastest with a 1:21.5. I think we will be seeing relevant lap times like that in qualifying and probably maybe in practice as well. Certainly not in the race. I think it'll be about 3-4 seconds slower maybe in the race. You'll just have to wait and see for that. And I do apologise, I am a bit fluey here tonight. I've got a bit of a cold, so you will have to cope with me sniffling about on the mic. But we should be getting going very shortly indeed. Now, I'm not going to do what I did last week and exit the lobby. I'm going to retire and spectate straight away so you guys can see the action that's going to unfold out on track. And I'm just going to get onto trackside cam. We'll come on board then. There is action coming out the pit lane in the silver livery, which is the D2 Privat livery there. Not bad at all. Of course, 72 degrees Fahrenheit is the air temperature at the minute, 93 Fahrenheit the track temperature, so it's just under 30, it's just over 30 degrees here tonight in Brands Hatch. Light cloud currently forecast with an easterly wind, and Javier Vans opting to fuel for his first practice run, 19 litres of fuel, and we will get to see laps come down as the session progresses on. Of course, this is practice. Qualifying will be next up, and then we've got that hour and a half race, of course, for the GT1s. And I'm sure everyone is going to be enjoying the action that will unfold out on track. We have got more of an attendance here compared to pre-season as well. I think we've got pretty much a full grid, I do believe. I think we've got 14 drivers here tonight. Obviously, a couple lagging out because of connection issues at the minute, but should be having them back in very soon, I would imagine. Coming through Clearways and Clark Curve now, though, Javier Rands begins his lap. Watch out for the speed running down the straight. You can reach about 155 miles an hour coming down the straight here. In fact, it's more than that, 157 coming out through turn 1. That is at Paddock Hill Bend, and that's not how you take Paddock Hill Bend. That is him on the grass. That back end does really like to slide out through Paddock Hill Bend. It is a shame for Javier Ranz, and I think he has decided... Oh no, the camera has just messed up a little bit. He is still out on track though in the meantime. We'll go on board with somebody that's just ahead of him out on track. We'll go on board then with Max, whoever Max is. I have to try and remember these names, so do apologise in advance if I get any of the names wrong. But I do believe we've got Snaker, Bax, Schwami, Ibrick, Max, whoever Max is, GTS, Javier Ranz, Cypher Knight, and that is not how you take... that was at Dingle Dell, going down the Derek Minter Straight towards Westfield, through there. That's not how you take that sort of corner at all. Just favouring a little bit for Max there. In the meantime though, we'll go on board with GTS. I think might be on an outlap here actually, but we'll go on board with GTS. Sega's had a lap time invalidated in the meantime. But we're on board with GTS R12, of course, one of the inheritance through Gavra Academy. Plenty of these drivers that you might have seen in Gavra Academy in the past. That is where I've also came from as well, if you're just tuning in. 6 minutes and 50 seconds to go, however, though, in this practice session, and GTS is about to come across the line with Javier Ranz just in a 35.7, but there you go, 126.7 there from GTS, and it's 9 seconds quick. Of course, Javier Ranz having that spin at Paddock Hill Bend, this will be a much better lap, so we'll go back on board with him, the Spaniard, in the meantime. He comes through Druid's Hairpin on the run down towards Graham Hill Bend, which is what I see as turn 4 on this track. Turn 5 would be Surtees coming up next. Of course, there are a few little kinks throwing in this. Cypher Knight has just gone second with a 27.7. Not a bad lap there from Cypher Knight. And in the meantime, you can already tell that Javier Ranz is well quicker here. He has got a bit of slipstream helping him out as he comes down through into Hawthorns. Right-hander here at turn 5. Oh, somebody getting in the way there, just ahead of him. I think that might have been Max, just ahead of him actually, getting in the way. Javier Ranz, though, in the meantime, on the run through Dingle Dell and through Sheen Curve now at the right-hander. Looking very nice through there. 135.7, remember, is his lap time. Ibrick has just jumped up into third here in the practice session. 31.1 for the German, so not a bad lap time there from Ibrick. Javier Ranz, though, the Spaniard, through the final corner at Clark Curve, through Clearways and through Clark Curve. Good to see Interceptor has joined back as well. Coming across the line, Javier Ranz will go to the top. How fast is he? He had that time invalidated, in fact. That must have been through the final corner at Clearways, possibly. On the run through Clearways and into Clark Curve, I would imagine, as GTS has just gone quicker, and that's not what you like to see from Javier Ranz. But 20.1 from GTS. Very nice lap there from him. Javier Ranz has decided to come into the pit, and Cypher Knight goes quicker now with the 119.9. First of 19s here. Just ignore my prediction that I made at the beginning here, saying that there would be around a 125. Yeah, just ignore that. 119.9 is the top here in practice session, and likely that they will go quicker, of course, in the qualifying session. Let's focus then on Snaker. He's just coming through Clearways and now into Clark Curve through the right-hander. Looking like a Jaguar Racing Green going on there on that car. Just ran into the gravel there on exit, just took a little bit too much speed. Snaker though is on a lap, but he's just about to come across the line. In fact, I think he was on an outlap there. He's in the Subrun Performance livery, running car number 5. Watch on board with him as we come through Druids though in the meantime. Sega's jumped up into 6th, by the way, last week's pre-season winner. 127.3 is current best lap time, and in fact we'll go on board with him because he's just behind, coming through Surtees now at the left-hander, running up the hill through the end of sector 1. He's 7.2 seconds up on his personal best. GTS has gone even quicker with a 119 flat. Very nice lap there from him. Interceptor has left the session once again. It's a shame to see. Hopefully we can get those connection issues sorted out. We're more than halfway through practice though in the meantime. There's GTS from Cypher Knight from that guy there in third. Again, I keep forgetting the name, so I do apologise. This is all new to me. This is my second week in GT1s, so I'm going to have to refer to my drivers list that I've got, which I said last week, luckily. So I've got it up somewhere. We should have it there. There we go. Maxply it is. It's Maxply. But GTS in the meantime has gone quicker. We'll go back on board then with Snaker, who's just about to come across the line, in fact, in that racing green sort of Jaguar livery. 121.7 there in the sub-brand performance. Very nice lap. And looking at my driver's list I've got up now, Snaker is not in a team, so he's running as what you could call a privateer here, which essentially means he's just running on his own. There are teams, of course, here in GT1s. We've got Sigras and Eco in the Honey Badgers team. SA Racing, represented by Schwami and Alec. Schwami is here and is in the pits there, 127.4 in fact from Schwami. He is running car number 19. Alec's running car number 20, not here tonight, sadly. In also another team, GTS and Javier Ranz. We'll go on board with Javier Ranz, just around the final corner at Clark Curve. Just about to come across the line. We've got somebody coming out the pits as well. Javier Ranz goes to the top of the timings, and I tell you what, we've seen massive improvement since I last said about the lap times. Javier Ranz with 17.5, 18.6 from GTS, and a 19.1 from Cypher Sig and fourth, the 19.5 respectively. So they're in the HRT team. GTS and Javier Ranz in cars 35 and 36. 35 is Javier Ranz. They've had a bit of a number swap from what I've got on my screen at the minute. Bax Console Planet and Cypher Knight are running cars 8 and 7. They're on the they're in the morning team car. The Krombacher Racing Club is Interceptor and Marcos. Marcos currently having a nice session. He hasn't came out on track yet, which I think it's a bit of a disadvantage, to be honest. You want to be setting a lap time here. Don't think any of these guys have received any license level points or anything like that. So Marcos, just waiting, I think probably going to be waiting until qualifying, to be honest, for Marcos. I've got a few drivers out on track. Good to see Interceptor is actually out on track. He's on an out lap at this stage. About a minute to go in practice. Of course, the track temperature has increased slightly. 93 degrees Fahrenheit now out on track. 72 degrees Fahrenheit in the air temperature. And still the wind blowing on an easterly breeze. Somebody just going off track ahead of him there. But in the meantime, Interceptor, who is a privateer, as I've said. Who's in the Krombacher Racing Club, as I've said, alongside Marcos. Those guys who aren't running any teams, Snaker, Bowie, Maxply, Ibrick and Math Gamer. Now, I don't think this could be slightly... some things might have actually changed on this lineup that I've actually got. Interceptor, though, about to start a lap. We'll go on board, though, with Ibrick. Now, Ibrick, I do believe... Oh, he's just gone off track, actually. So we'll go on board, then, with... If we can pick up on somebody. Let's just go on board with Interceptor, because we've also got Matt Gamer on a lap as well. Matt Gamer is on a lap. In the meantime, as we approach the end of practice, of course, 10 minutes of practice, these drivers to get used to the track. Snaker is back into the pits. Javier Ranz with a 17.5 leading the session. Sig has now jumped up to second, in fact. Interceptor is back into the pits in the meantime. Oh, just going off track there. It wasn't Sig, I think that might have been Maxply. It was Maxply going off track at through Dingle Dell there. Now coming towards Clearways at the final corner. Sig, though, in the meantime, has just gone ahead of Maxply actually out on track. In the meantime, Sig just about to come around the final corner. 18.1, 5/10 off Javier Ranz in practice here. And he's about to come across the line. Are we going to see any improvement from Sig? Let's have a look. No improvement shown there from Sig, but we have nearly reached the end of the practice session. We've only got one more driver to come around the final corner, who is Math Gamer, about to come across the line. He doesn't improve. Again, apologies about... I'm going to have to retire and spectate. Javier Ranz, though, tops the practice session from Sig in second, GTS R12 in third, with Cypher Knight in fourth, Snaker fifth, Math Gamer sixth, Maxply, Ibrick, Schwami, Interceptor, Bowie, Bax Console and Marcos and myself haven't set lap times here, but Interceptor, Bowie, Bax and Marcos all racing. I'm the commentator, of course. For those of you who are tuning in and don't know me, I'm James Head 14. I will be taking you through the action here out on track 4 GT1s. As we have started qualifying, I will retire and spectate once again. There we go. We can go on to trackside cam now, get everything up onto the timing screens, and then there is action already coming at the pits. We're going to see well, it's myself actually that we're on board with. We're just going to go on board then with whoever's first out on track, and it is Cypher Knight. Cypher Knight first out on track. We should be seeing plenty of improvements from the practice time. 17.5, remember, for Javier Rands in practice. Cypher Knight, I think, could have some sort of influence on the top 3 possibly here. But if you want to have my prediction, go on, I may as well give you a prediction. Javier Rands for pole. I think he's going to beat Sig for pole position. I think Sig's going to be second. And for third place, I think Schwami could do well. I'm not sure why I'm thinking Schwami could do well, but I think Schwami could do well. I think he might be third for a bit of an outsider's look on things. I'm going to check the comment section just before we get back into this qualifying session. Of course, the cars are now out on track. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream so far, and good evening to Flip. Nice, that's a proper streaming quality. I know. It's now going to go a bit AI because I've now got my iPad on and I'm looking at the stream. Looking forward to a great racing commentary from James Head, and thank you to all of those guys who are tuning in. And of course, if you do want to ask me any questions, or if you do want to I might miss, put it in the comments section. I'm more than happy to thingy. In the meantime though, Javier Rands has just had a place swap out on track with Cypher Knight, so Javier Rands is going to be first across the line to start a lap. In fact, he's not the first to come across the line, but in the meantime, we'll go on board with Javier Rands as he comes through turn 1 of Paddock Hill Bend, just running wide there. You can pick up an invalidated lap time. I did try this before we came on air. You can, if you go as wide as possible, if you stick 2 wheels over that AstroTurf for Paddock Hill Bend, you're going to get an invalidation. Javier Rands making that look like light work though, so he comes through towards Surtees now, which is the left-hander coming up through into the end of the first sector here. Of course, you are getting an onboard look here with Javier Rands, as I say, and the Spaniard now coming through Pilgrim's Drop, the downhill drop, reaching 162 under braking, taking a very thin 4th gear there through there, but very nice traction on the exit. Now through the right-hander from the Derek Minter Straight, now through Dingle Dell as they run up the hill towards Sheen Curve. Javier Rands through the right-hander now at Sheen Curve. Looking very nice, taking more than 100 mile an hour through there. I simply could not manage that when I was going round here out on track. And we'll go through into Clearways and Clark Curve now with Javier Rands. 7 minutes to go here in qualifying. 3 minutes already gone in qualifying. As going to the top of the timing screens there. Wasn't Javier Rands. I think he must have had an invalidation there. But going to the top of the timing screens there, very, very nice lap indeed. From, who is that? To Marco. It is Marcos. Yeah, it's Marcos. Goodness me, I need to get used to these names, guys, honestly. I really do need to get used to these names. I'm sure as we progress through the sessions, I will pick up the names more often. It's because we've got a few new drivers here tonight that weren't here for pre-season, which is making me just a little bit anxious trying to get the names right, but hopefully you guys do understand that. In the meantime, we'll go on board with Barry, who's just about to come through Clearways and Clark Curve. Final corner out on track. Through there now. 4 minutes already gone in qualifying. It will go literally like a flash here in Brands Hatch. About to come across the line now, Barry. And he comes across to set a 30-point flat. Must have had a moment out on track. 30-point flat there from Barry. And the Lenovo Racing livery there. Number 61 he is running on his car. That does add up with the... he's actually in the Honey Badgers team alongside Sig, I do believe. Just check that. Sig not running... Is he running the same livery as him? Yes, he is. So, Sig and... whoever else. Javier Rands has just gone to the top of the timing screens a little with a 16.7. Very nice lap there from Javier Rands. So Sig is running the same livery as Bowie, so both of them are now teaming up in the Honey Badgers racing livery. Javier Rands and Marcos currently leading with Sig in third, Bax in fourth. Of course, that is Bax Console Planet in fourth, running the number 8 car for the morning team alongside Cypher Knight, who's just in behind him in 5th place. We are halfway through qualifying now. Snaker in 6th, followed by Schwami in 7th, GTS in 8th, Max in 9th and Bowie in 10th place. And still got laps to be set from Interceptor, who is running through at the right-hander now coming up the hill. which of course is through Hawthorns and onto the Derek Minter Straight, and then through Westfield and Dingle Dell, which is this right-hander, running downhill now through Dingle Dell, and then through into Sheen Curve, which is the next right-hander corner out on track. This is turn 7. Of course, only 9 corners out on track here in Brands Hatch. Intercept below in the meantime, about to come through into the final couple of corners. That was through Sterling's, and now running down towards Clearways. Of course, if you are picking up on the theme for some of these corner names, it is because most of these corner names are named after former F1 champions. John Surtees, of course. We've got Sterling Moss, and we've also got Clark for Jim Clark as well, and Brabham as well, Graham Hill. Yeah, bit of a F1 theme you can think. Of course, this track did used to host the F1 back in the 80s, I think it was, before Silverstone took it over. Of course, back in the day, it was a bit of a swap between tracks. It was Brands Hatch, it was Donington, and it was also Silverstone. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, those could be the first 3 tracks of the season here for Gavra. I'm pretty sure that might be the case. Just going to have a look at this on the calendar, just to confirm this. Of course, I'm still not 100% sure what the calendar actually is coming into tonight. I need to revise that for next time. We'll go on board though in the meantime on Ibrick, and he's just coming through the end of the first sector there, 10.3 seconds up. And yeah, it is in fact, as I said, Brands Hatch, Donington, Silverstone. So the first 3 Formula 1 tracks in British, the main 3 Formula 1, the former Formula 1 tracks are the first 3 here for the GT1s. So that is quite poignant there, I think, to be honest. And of course, that is over the next 2 weeks of action, including tonight for Brands Hatch. As we approach the end of qualifying, Matt Gamer has just gone off track there. In the meantime, Ibrick, I'm not sure if he's just preparing for lap, he's come into the pits. Absolutely typical. Very quick exit out of the pit lane though. We'll go through, and Ibrick in fact has picked up a penalty. We've just gone above the timings actually on that, and he has picked up a grid place penalty. I'm not sure what that penalty is actually for, but there we go. I'll run you down through so you can actually see that. He's just in behind the speedo there. You can just see it if I just scroll up a little bit. Yeah, 1 place grid penalty for Ibrick there, who's in 12th place. And that is a really good timing thing to have. 16.7 for Javier Rans. Marcos with a 17 flat, and Bax has gone 3rd with a 17.3. In the meantime, we'll go on board then with Bax Console Planet. He's just coming through Clearways and Clark Curve. Just under 2 minutes to go here in GT1 Series. Race 1 here at Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit. Of course, familiarise yourself with this layout, because you'll be seeing a lot of it as Bax goes 2nd with a 16.8. Very nice lap from him. I think he's done. He's going to park off a Paddock Hill bend and return back into the pit lane. Not surprised. I don't think he'll get another lap in there, so not surprised there. But Bax has gone 2nd ahead of Marcos, who's in 3rd. Sig in 4th, who I think might be on a lap here. He is running his lights. Not sure why he's running his lights in the daytime, but the number 60 car running downhill. Of course, for the Honey Badgers team, he's sitting alongside Schwami now in that car. But Sig now coming through. 1 minute and 10 seconds remain here in qualifying. And of course, we're going to get going into an hour and a half race. I really wish it was a minute and a half race, but it's an hour and a half, so you're going to be stuck with me for a little bit longer tonight. Sega better come across the line though in the meantime, and goals 2nd, 700ths off. A 7/10 improvement there from Sig. Very nice lap from the makings of it. Very nice lap there from Sig. 16.799 and a 16.729 is what separates Sig between 1st and 2nd. Javier Rans out on top though, and he's just coming through Surtees now, the left-hander, on the run down through Pilgrim's Drop. Just trying to familiarise this. Oh, and Javier Rans has actually caught contact there. He's actually had contact. I'm not sure who that was not getting out the way. Let's just find out. It was Math Gamer who wasn't getting out the way. I'm not sure if that was a desync or anything that occurred there. It didn't look like it to me, and I don't think any of them have got penalties, so remains to be seen in the meantime. Because we have just had Max Ply improve up to 11th place with 1:22.3. Ibrick has just started the lap as well. That is qualifying complete though. The top 4 not going to be improving. In the meantime, we'll go on board with Cypher Knight. He's only 6 tenths down through the middle sector. He's now coming through towards Clearways, and he's not coming through towards Clearways because that is a 720 spin there. Fantastic 720, gets the car going again, which is good to see. Of course, he's not going to be improving. Interceptor on a lap. In fact, he's just coming through Pilgrim's Drop. I think that is probably the end of qualifying here. We're just waiting on Barry, who is improving by 0.4 of a second. It's going to be very close between this top 5. Could be within 0.3, I would imagine. Javier and Sig, Bax, Marcos and Barry, possible top 5. Watch out for this lap though. Barry could even go to the top of the timing screens here. Very late on. Can Barry do this? Better come across the line. What's it going to be? And he goes top! Barry steals it very late on. Brilliant lap. 16.7. He nicks it from Javier Ranz. And the Spaniard will be annoyed with that. Barry goes to the top. Javier Ranz second. Sig in third. Bax in fourth. Marcos in fifth. Cypher Knight in sixth. Interceptor, Snaker, GTS, Schwammy, Ibrick, Max Fly. Of course, Max Fly will be jumping ahead of Ibrick with that place grid penalty. And Math Gamer, the only one not to set a lap time out on track. But Barry steals it late on as we move into the hour and a half race for Brands Hatch. Fantastic qualifying, and of course we'll just wait on everyone to ready up into the session. Of course, no formation lap here to run you through my prediction. As soon as everyone is ready in the session, we should get going very soon indeed. Hopefully everyone enjoying the session. I will check the comment section now though in the meantime, see what you guys are saying. And Flip coming in and saying one of the toughest races on this calendar is the old bumpy circuit of Brands Hatch. It is. It's a very testing track, this. It is a very testing track. I am going to monitor, we'll go on board then. The thing is, I just sort myself out once again. There we go. Oh, I'm having a bit of a moment there. There we go. So we're about to get going for this race, and Flip also coming in saying well done Barry. Yeah, I've got to agree with that comment, to be honest. This track in any car is very bumpy. There's quite a lot of undulations. There's quite a lot of elevation change around here. I think on average, it's about a 50-metre sea level change, because this really is the pinnacle of motorsport here in Britain. Brands Hatch. It is one of our most recognised tracks. It is going to be the finale of touring cars this season. The British Touring Car Championship will be coming here for the finale. Of course, they did start it off on the Indy circuit, which is the track that we're not using here tonight. Grand Prix circuit, though, in the meantime, is the one that we are going to be using. 13 drivers out on track, and of course Barry's seen that very late on from Javier Ranz. He starts out on pole position. Javier Ranz second, Sig in third, Bax in fourth with Marcos in fifth, Cypher Knight, Interceptor, Snaker, GTS and Schwammy, Max Ply, Ibrick and Math Gamer right down on the bottom. I'm getting used to the names, as you can tell. We should be getting going. It's about 30 seconds now until race starts, unless everyone is ready up just before that. Track temperature has just dropped by a degree or so. 92 degrees Fahrenheit, northeasterly wind now, light cloud forecast for the race, and we should be getting clear weather towards the end of this race, as well as determined by the race regulations, of course. But buckle up, because it's going to be a wild, crazy ride. Hope you got your popcorn, your alcoholic drink, whatever you've got at the ready. We are about to get going here at Brands Hatch for round 1 of the championship for the GT1 series. Barry will take us off. The light sequence is on. And we go green, and the GT1's very slow start from Barry, and he's going to get jumped by Javier Ranz. What a start by the Spaniard. Up into turn 1, through Paddock Hill Bend they go for the first time, and Barry in fact is going to lose 2 positions because there's been a little bit of contact in the background. I do believe somebody is off into the gravel. I think that might be Snaker off in the gravel. Cypher Knight, I think might have had a bit of contact with him, but Javier Ranz, what a jump from the get-go, and the Spaniard leads already by 6/10, of course. Race cannot be won on the first lap. We've got an hour and a half of this, and everyone on settling down. There's been a little bit of contact in the background. Ibrick has moved up into fifth, and I think we've had a bit of a moment. Marcos has dropped down the field markedly early on. He's had a bit of a spin. I'm not sure if he's had contact with anybody else. Couldn't see it on the background of the shot due to some of the camera angle changes there. But we'll focus on the battle for the lead for now, though. Javier Ranz leads the way, second, and he's pulled away from Sig early on. Oh, just running wide there through into Dingledell from Javier Ranz. But it is Javier Ranz who leads. Sig in second, Barry in third, Bax in fourth, Ibrick now fifth with GTS in sixth. Max Ply just been overtaken there by Interceptor in the background of shots. So Interceptor is through, and he's up to P7. It's Max Ply, goes for a spin. splits Max Bly off, and that is through Dingle Dell on the run up towards the right-hander at Sheen Curve, just before Sterling's, that is, and Javier Rands is into the pits. So Javier Rands into the pits. I think he's got a drive-through penalty, possibly. Let's watch this. The Spaniard is coming. Is he going to come into the pits? I don't think he is. I think he's got. Yeah, he had a drive-through penalty. So that start really cost him. So it's now Sig out in front from Barry in second, and these two pulled clear to Honey Badger Racing Team. 7/10 of a second separating Sig and Barry at this stage, with Bax in third, Ibrick in fourth, Interceptor in fifth. Yeah. Right. GTS in sixth, with Snake a seventh, Cypher Knight in eighth, Javier Rands now in ninth place after that drive-through penalty, and in fact GTS has just spun at 30s. Not sure if he had contact with Snake or possibly. And to be seen, of course, there'll be a lot of stewarding investigations after the first opening laps. Of course, we're only on lap 2 here. And it is Sig who leads the way. That is Marcos really struggling. Has he got a puncture, in fact? Marcos. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I can't really quite see. He's keeping out of the way of everyone, which is good sportsmanship shown there by Marcos. Of course, not the race that he would be wanting to start off his GT1 series in. Of course, this is race 1 of the inaugural season. At the end of lap 2, it is Sig who leads the way with an 18.8. Very nice lap from him so far. Barry in second, Bax in third, Ibrick in fourth, and Interceptor in fifth, as Interceptor tries to chase down Bax, who is in fourth place at this moment in time. But Sig leads the way. It's 1.3 seconds from Barry in second. Interceptor trying to get closer to Ibrick here for fourth place out on track. Javier Rands has gone past GTS as well, so Javier Rands now up to 8th place. As a result of that, Marcos has came into the pits. Must have had suspension damage or damage from that. And in the meantime, Sig is just coming through. That is Matt Gamer just getting out of the way. So already lapped cars proving a little bit of a factor here as Sig just comes through the right-hander now at Hawthorns up towards the Derek Minter straight, and through Westfields he goes. Comes the right-hander there. Sig, though, leading the way from Barry in second. It's going to be an uphill climb now, though, from Javier Rands as Sig just briefly goes off track, losing a tiny bit of time, but not much. But it's Sig who leads the way. Barry in second. In the meantime, though, as I was saying, Interceptor. Oh, somebody has spun round there. Is that Math Gamer that has gone round? It is Math Gamer that has gone round. Bit of an oh, and Ibrick is off as well. Ibrick is off as well. Keep on missing all of this. Interceptor now up to fourth. I'm not sure if Ibrick has had a push to pass really there from Interceptor possibly, and has pushed him off track. Not sure what has gone on there, but he has improved by a tenth per second as we are only 5 minutes through here in GT1 series, and it is Sig who leads the way from Barry in second, Bax in third. 2 seconds the gap between the battle for the lead at this stage. We'll go on board with the battle that's further on down the field though. This is through Druid Hairpin, Snaker and Javier Rands 6th and 7th at this stage. Of course, Javier Rands with a drive-through penalty early on, got a very quick start. Bit too quick of a start from the Spaniard who drops it. He drops it, the right-hander. That is through that is through Graham Hill Bend. He has lost that, and he's going to have to keep out of the way of Schwammy. He's going to go all the way around the outside of him now. Javier Rands has got to be careful down the inside. Schwammy gives him the benefit of the doubt there, and Javier Rands dropping it. It's not going according to plan for the Spaniard. Of course, 5 minutes gone. Still a long, long way to go. Anything can still happen here in GT1 series. But it is Sig who leads the way from Barry in second, Bax in third, Interceptor now fourth. The front four spread out by around 10 seconds out on track, and it is Sig who is dominating things at this stage in the race. Of course, I do like to hear from you in the comment section. Cash coming in, damn that is of course this race took place on Fridays. I know, we can't move it sadly. We can't move it for Fridays. An ex-Natty G, I don't know who that is, recognised me from F1, maybe, I don't know. I didn't watch F1 last night, but Sig in the meantime, 1.8 seconds out on track from Barry in second. Meantime though, Cypher Knight has just had an off, coming towards the Druid's hairpin there. That was through Paddock Hill Bend where he lost that. So Snaker now into 5th place, the Cypher in 6th, GTS and Ibrick 7th and 8th, Javier Rands in 9th place. Of course, after that spin, he has got to try and climb his way through the field here, and it is looking like the Spaniard, much better entry through there this time around. We'll go on board with him in fact The Spaniard beginning to attack the back end of Ibrick here. And is he going to go all the way around the outside through the right-hander here at the end of Pilgrim's Drop? Let's find out. He's looking to go to the inside. I don't think he's going to be close enough for a move. Of course, could force up the driver in front into a mistake. Of course, that is Ibrick just ahead of him. And Javier Ranz now dives it down the inside. Bit of an on-board look there as Javier Ranz gets the move done. He's up to P8. So the Spaniard making eye-catching progress now through the field. After that drive-through penalty and that early spin, he is beginning to make himself known, and he's beginning to work his way through the field. And he has got quite a few cars up and coming as well. And that, of course, was done at Westfield. Very nice move down at the inside of Westfield there for Javier Ranz. He's up to 8th place. Back on board with the lead, though, it is Sig who leads the way, 1.9 seconds out in front, and relative to last lap around, 118.3 for Sig, 118.869 for Bowie and Bax respectively. So Sig lapping at a quicker lap time here than Bowie, but looking at the timings, he's not really getting away. It's 2 seconds. That gap has just stabilised a little bit. 1.9. It's hovering around anywhere between 1.8 and maybe 2.2 seconds now. It's just really stabilised a little bit, but it is Sig who leads the way from Bowie in second, Bax in third. In the meantime, Snecker right on the back of Interceptor, now coming through the right-hander at Hawthorne, coming down Hawthorne Hill and through Hawthorne Snout at the right-hander. Interceptor is in fourth. Snecker beginning to attack the back end of him once again, and Cypher Knight is beginning to get involved in this as well, so we could see a three-way battle for fourth. And I think Bowie has made a mistake somewhere out on track. It might have been a Clark curve, possibly. He has dropped off now by another 2 seconds, as now Interceptor and Snecker begin to battle it out for fourth and fifth. Interceptor, of course, running by himself, and he is opting to come into the pits. So Interceptor into the pits early, and that is not as a result of any fuel issue. That's not as a result of any damage I don't see on the car. Of course, it is very difficult to see damage on these cars in the GT1s. Interceptor might be a drive-through penalty, possibly. Let's just find out. I think it could be, you know. Yeah, it is. It's a drive-through penalty for Interceptor. Just coming out of the pits, he takes the cone with him coming out of the pits, and he's just going to come out just behind GTS there. The GTS, and Interceptor has picked up a penalty as a result of that as well. We'll go on board with the timings very shortly just to confirm that. Everyone has spread out nicely through the field as Interceptor has got past GTS, who spins it at Druid's hairpin. GTS spins it at Druid's hairpin, so Interceptor is now up into 9th place. But we'll go on board the battle for second, and we'll get up the timing screens just to confirm that. And it is a 10-second penalty for Interceptor. 10-second penalty for Interceptor. I'm not sure what he has done to deserve that. Possible trackside track limit violations, I imagine. But Interceptor's got a 10-second time penalty. That's going to be very costly for the end of this race. As now Snecker and Ibrick have had an off. Oh, I think Ibrick was trying to go down the inside. Didn't catch that as such. That was down through into Westfield, of course, where we saw Javier Ranz get an overtake done down the inside. That was, of course, for 8th place. Just a matter of minutes ago. And Ibrick looked like he was going down the inside of Snaker, and I think they've had contact through them. Possibly just a bit of an aggressive move, maybe. Who knows? Have to wait for the stewards on that one, I think. Of course, any stewarding reports will get released out. In the meantime, though, 4th and 5th, Javier Ranz, the Spaniard, making very good progress through the field. He's got Cypher Knight now ahead of him, and it is looking good at this stage for the Spaniard out on track, and he is making eye-catching progress, as I say, through the field. Let me just check on the comment section, though, in the meantime, as we are now through the first 10 minutes of the race. Javier Ranz right on the back of Cypher Knight, 4th and 5th. Good evening to Crazar, who was tuned in. Crazar getting the support in there for Sig, and it's good to see Crazar here as well. Another familiar face that I've commentated on in the past in Gavra Academy. Javier Ranz, though, in the meantime, right on the back of Cypher Knight. This is through now, that was through Dingle Dell, and now into the left-hander just before Clearways. This is at the final corner, of course, at turn 9 here out on track. And Javier Ranz, is he just going to be let through by Cypher Knight? I think that was just a clear let through. You should be racing for yourselves out on track, I think. These guys should be racing for themselves out on track. Ibrick has not had any damage as a result of back contact with Snaker. He's still out on track. Snaker, in the meantime, has just came out the pits there. You might have just seen him through camera shot. He has just came out of the pits as Bowie has had a moment, and that is through Surtees at the left-hander. These cars just dropping the back end, and Bowie has now lost it at a second place. And has he had contact with, is that Max Ply? It's not Max Ply. Who is that? That's Marcos. Not sure if he's had contact with Marcos or Marcos was letting him through in the process. Not sure what is going on, to be honest there. I'm missing every little bit of contact. I'm trying to give you as much clean action as possible here for GT1s. We are nearly 12 minutes through, and if you're just tuning in, I'm JimSaid14, your GT1 commentator for this season. Hopefully everyone enjoying the stream so far. Sake leads the way though by 8.9 seconds from Bax in second. Doesn't really write the story of the race though. We are on to lap 10 now. Javier Rand's drive-through penalty and a bit of a spin will be a lot closer if he wasn't there. Of course, we have had little bits of contact up and down the field as well. Relatively all clean though, from what I've seen as a result. And of course, as the race goes on, we should begin to see everyone settle down into their race rhythms. Everyone's still going out on track, which is important. And of course, points score for every single point pretty much, as Bowie is into the pits as a result of that spin at Surtees. He's into the pits. Of course, these guys are opting to go. You can get 100 litres of fuel in these cars. The fuel not coming down as quick as what we saw in Imola last week. If you did tune in, of course, for that, Imola was the pre-season race. And looking at the minute, Bowie is into the pits. It's going to be quite costly here. He has got damage on that right side, I do believe, of that car. So he will be coming out the pits very soon. The fuel light is through away, and we should be getting him coming out of the pits very soon indeed. In the meantime, we'll go back on board with the leader, Sig, who is out in front, just coming through the final corner at Clearways and Clark Curve. There is Bowie still in the pits. He's just been lapped now by the leader. So Sig leads the way, 118.5, Bax in second, just going around the outside of, I think that was... that must have been Max Ply. Max Ply, in fact, trying to go back down the inside. Of course, we don't want to see an Esteban Ocon and Max Verstappen sort of incident here tonight in GT1s. The guys have got to respect the limits and got to get out of the way. Of course, we have got 12 races here in the GT1 series moving forward. I'm just going to check to see if we've got any reaction so far to the action out on track on Discord. See what is happening on Discord. See what people are commenting on the Discord chat. If we have some lasting issues, we'll consider a whole switch for next race. That is just a line coming through from our lobby host here tonight, which is Sig. GT1 drivers have a good race and good luck, says Flip Flip. Of course, he is in the comment section as well. And of course, as we have a little bit of a downtime now in the action, it's your chance to really come in and make what you think of the first 15 minutes of this race so far. Of course, we have got Sig out in front, pulling away effortlessly, I think. Not breaking sweat at the minute. By the end of an hour and a half, though, I think it's going to be a different story. We're going to be seeing all of the drivers breaking sweat, maybe with a little bit of blood coming out of their hands as well, as that is now the leader just getting out of the way. That was, I think that was Matt Gamer just getting out of the way there at turn 1. It was Matt Gamer just getting out of the way at turn 1. Good respect shown out on track. We have got a battle developing, though, in the meantime. Well, if you can call it a battle, it is for 6th and 7th. It's Ibrick and GTS R12, as we are through the first 15 minutes here of the GT1 series. GTS, about 2 seconds off at this stage, 2.2 seconds out on track. Ibrick just beginning to extend away, 21.681 compared to 21.626 last time around. I may remind you, if you are just tuning in as well, you see that red number 10 next to Interceptor's name. Oh, as Ibrick has an off through the left-hander, that is through Sterling, I do believe. And he has got out of the way, and GTS comes sailing on by. So that mistake, very costly for Ibrick. Is he going to come into the pits back through, and he's up to P6 as a result of that? And that was through Sterling's, where we dropped that at the left-hander through turn 8. And looking on his tyre temps, of course, I've had to retire and spectate in this race, so it gives me a little bit more of a opportunity. In fact, Ibrick is down the inside now with Druid's hairpin up the inside of GTS. Nice move. Ibrick got the run out of Paddock Hill Bend, up the run through into Druid's hairpin, and he's through and he's back up into P6. But we have got blue flags just in behind. I think that is Bax trying to get past, is it? It's not Bax, it is Sig trying to get... No, it's not Sig trying to get past. It is somebody trying to get past. I think it's Bowie trying to get past in the meantime. Yeah, that is Bowie. He is a lap down on these guys, so It's been that, but he is looking quicker than these guys, so whether he wants to go for a move or not remains to be seen. GTS is right on the back of him here, Barry, actually. But still, Ibrick and GTS, the closest battle out on track, around 6/7 of a second here. Schwami about 5 seconds up the road. He's just gone through Sheen Curve, the left-hander at Sterling's. So we make our way gently through this race. Sieg still leads the way, Bax in second. Javier Rand's now in third place, looking good for him so far. Cypherknight and Schwami heading out the top 5 at this stage. We have had another comment come through, by the way. I'm just going to have a look at who this is. Good evening to Damien, who's just tuned into the chat. And 17 people watching. I'll tell you what, thank you very much for tuning in. Probably this is one of the biggest audience I've commentated on in the last few months or so. So really appreciate it, and hopefully share it out even further. If you are a massive fan of these GT1s, or you're just a massive fan of Gavra or of GT, or of Project Cars 2, I was going to say GT Sport there, but if you are a massive fan of any of these three things, get your family, get your friends, get whoever to tune in and watch the GT1s. You can't beat a bit of clean and competitive racing on a Wednesday night in Gavra Racing, can you? I know, it's unbelievable. Barry, I think, is just going up the inside there of Interceptor, and that was the position, in fact. So we see Sieg just the lead of just ahead of these. Bit of team tactics maybe working there, as Barry has gone through on Interceptor. That was a nice move at Surtees. So Barry is through, looking a lot quicker than Interceptor. Not that last lap around, but Barry looking a lot quicker than Interceptor out on track. And he's up to P9, so nice move there through Surtees. But Sig leads the way. It's 11.4 seconds out on track as we approach the first 20 minutes of this race. I know, we're only 20 minutes through. It feels like we've been going about an hour already. But in the meantime, we've got that battle still going on between Ibrick and GTS. We'll focus on that for a while. Track temperature has dropped 2 degrees since the start of this race. It is now looking a little bit more overcast, and the wind direction has changed to a northwesterly wind. So it is basically blowing from, I think, where Druid's hairpin is. It is blowing across pretty much behind Druid's hairpin on the run through. So can unstable the car, I would think, through there. Of course, if it was picking up at about 20 miles an hour, it would have a massive effect on these cars, especially because of the light turning. But we approach the first 20 minutes, the end of the first 20 minutes of this race. Sig leads the way, Bax in second, Javier Rand's in third, who has had a bit of a moment again, and we've missed that. I'm not sure what has happened now. Javier Rand's was about 13 seconds up the road on Cypherknight. I think there's been a bit of a spin there from Javier Rand's coming across the line. You can really tell he has had a spin. 33.5 compared to Cypherknight with a 22.6. I'm imagining he might have lost that through towards Sterling's, that left-hander, through Sheen Curve, Sterling's. That section there with the gravel trap runoff. Yeah, I think he's spun it there, possibly. Remains to be seen. Hopefully we'll get a reaction from him after this race, of course. Sig leads the way though. Everyone's still going around out on track. That middle end of the middle sector looking very empty at this stage in the mini-map. Going towards the end of sector 3 now. But at the meantime, Sig trying to battle through traffic, and I think that is Javier Rand's teammate just getting out of the way. That is GTS just getting out of the way. And Snaker not right on the back. That is Bowie, I think, right on the back. Yep, it is. Bowie just getting through. GTS let him through, not having any sort of problems there. And I do remind you, Interceptor has picked up that 10-second penalty. Did have a drive-through, but he's picked up a 10-second time penalty. I'm not sure what the reason was for. But again, hopefully we'll get a reaction to that out on track. And if I do begin to struggle with my voice, everyone that's tuning in, I will just briefly go off stream for about 2 minutes or so, just pick up a drink and then I'll come back. But hopefully that'll be thingy. And BM Racing also tuning in as well. Very familiar name once again to any of you that have tuned into Gavra Academy in the past, and you might recognise me from there. I have commentated on 3 seasons of Gavra Academy. Of course, you might remember my good commentating partner back in the day, Keelan, who is sadly no longer as part of the Gavra Racing commentary team. Plus, we've had a bit of a falling out, to be honest, without going into too much detail. But I'm sure everyone's going to be enjoying the race in the meantime that is unfolding out on track. And in fact, I am going to go for that drink now, so apologies if anybody does tune in and wonder why there's no commentary. I'll be back in about 2 minutes time. I'm just going to go down for a drink just to get me through the rest of the stream, so I'll be back. Hello everyone, we're back. I am back. I've got my drink back and we're back on commentary, and it is Sig who leads the way still with about 25 minutes gone in this GT1 race. And of course the endurance has now begun to kick in here for some of these drivers. You did see a bit of a wayward line there from Sig going through Paddock Hill Bend at turn 1, right-handed, just carrying a bit more apex than the norm, so endurance might be just beginning to tell on his end. But Sig leads the way in the meantime, 1:19.3, which remarkably is quicker than his time trial lap time around here, which I think was a 21.5 if I remember. So Sig going quicker than his time trial time. Of course, I think everyone is probably going quicker than their time trial times here tonight. As we are nearly half an hour through, 10-second penalty is given for speeding in the... I haven't really seen I don't think I've ever seen a drive-through penalty being given, or 10-second penalty being given for speeding in the pit lane. Normally, because it comes on automatically, the speed restriction. I think this might be restricted, of course, for GT1s, so that might be why. Very interesting fact. Thank you to Hajka, who tuned in and commented on that. So that is something I've definitely missed, so thank you very much, and I'll take that on board and I'll remember that for next week if anything happens, of course, in Donington, where we have got the prospect of light rain next week as well. But we are 25 minutes through here, this 1 hour and 30 minute endurance race. It's going to be quite telling on the commentator's end as well as the driver's end as well. But it is Sig who leads the way, and if you are just tuning in to the GT1 series for the very first time, why don't you like, comment and subscribe to the channel while you're at it as well, because there'll be plenty more commentaries where this came from. Of course, F1 taking place last night. I do believe we've got GTEs coming up as well this season. BMWs on a Monday, I do believe, with Fantaballs, and Jukebox, I do believe, commentates on that, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, more action to come here in Gavra Racing throughout the week, and I will bring onto the schedule at the end of this stream of what you're going to be seeing on Gavra. But it is, if you are tuning in, Sig who leads the way, 1:20.5 last time around from Sig, with Bax in second. 16.1 seconds behind. Then it's Javier Rans 47.3. They're literally spread out like washing here tonight. It is like hanging clothes on a washing line. They are absolutely spread out. Probably 6 minutes and 25 seconds separating the whole field at this stage, because Marcos is that final car who was going around on track, and Marcos having a very good qualifying session. Remember, Marcos did qualify in that top 5, that elusive top 5, which was within 0.3 of a second of each other in qualifying. That might seem like a distant memory to some of you guys now, but Marcos well down there in 13th place. Must have, he had contact, I think he had suspension damage as well on the rear end, so it is a shame that that has happened. But it is Sig who's dominating out in front. Of course, our Lobby Horse leading the way. We're on board with Cypher Knight though in 4th position, 22.2 his last lap around. He is about a minute off the lead at this stage, but of course remember, every point score here, 30 points, 24 points, 21, right the way down to 1 point, I think, for 15th place here in Gavra Racing. Pretty sure how the point system works. So all of the guys you're going to be seeing here tonight, I think are going to be picking up valuable points, even if you are, like Marcos, 6 minutes and 33 seconds down off the front of the race. It is still worth going round out on track. Even if you don't feel like you're going to be committed, you are still going to be out on track giving your all. And I think that's a big incentive for the drivers here in GT1. That was Matt Gamer just coming into the pits, by the way, having a change of tyres. Of course, we should be seeing the first round of pit stops around about halfway through, I would imagine. 45 minutes through, I would imagine, we'll start to see some of the pit stops. And in fact, we'll go on board with the leader, 71.2 on the pit stops on the fuel at the minute. In fact, it's 36.2. That has just changed. That is pretty much half the gap. It's because Matt Gamers just came into the pit. That's hopefully everyone enjoying the session so far. And you might seem like I am repeating myself. I am trying to not repeat myself. In the meantime, hopefully, as I say, it is not my stream that is kicking up, and I think it might be. So I'm just going to move my PS4 a little bit. We do have to break into 2 parts, and I do apologise. But there we go. That should just fix things for the time being. That's a lot better. Sig coming through Druid's hairpin now. Of course, you can really tell that it is quite overcast here at Brands Hatch, and of course, if you are not familiar with Brands Hatch at all, Brands Hatch, of course, one of the former homes of Formula 1. Back's just coming through turn 1 here at Paddock Hill Bend. Of course, the 3 tracks that we are going to be going to first: Brands Hatch tonight, Donington next week, and then it is Silverstone after that. My internet connection quality is not currently sufficient enough to broadcast the gameplay here, so we're going to do our best to try and get through the rest of the stream. Hopefully it is going to be fine, and I'll tell you what, I am going to switch off my iPad as a result. I am going to just switch that off right beside me, so I'm not going to go through the comment section sadly for the rest of the stream, but it is just for connection purposes. Hopefully you guys understand that, and I hope that the connection is going to improve very soon indeed, as that is well, the driver's just getting out of the way. I think that might be Barry just getting out of the way. Yeah, Barry just getting out of the way there on Backs being left through. I think that's his 3rd lap now that he's just been left there, Barry, from the leader. Just running briefly wide through the gravel there. But yeah, apologies if you are thinking. Just to pick up though, very interesting on the vehicle status. Look at how cold the right hand side of the tyres are. These tyres are really not getting warmed up as much as possible compared to what we saw at the beginning of this race. The temperature now beginning to drop. It is just going to work these tyres a little bit more, and the track temperature falling and the air temperature falling as well. This will have some sort of effect on the tyres now, so you should be seeing some sort of action coming into the pit stops. Of course, in terms of fuel, Sig out in front, 30.7 litres of fuel. He's going to be getting to around, I would expect, the 45-minute mark, and then go for 1 stop till possibly the end of this race. Of course, there's not much fuel there's not much fuel saving you can do in these cars, because obviously it's not like F1 where you can save the ERS and the DRS, the ERS especially, the engine recovery system on Formula 1. But Sig coming through plenty of traffic here in the meantime as they're coming through Clearways and Clark Curve once again. about 32 minutes in. There's Sig who leads the way. Back's in second. And look at the track. It is just beginning to get that little bit more overcast. And you can really tell the cloud cover beginning to develop. Temperatures, of course, are going to be dropping, which means the drivers have got to come into concentration. Snaker has came into the pits. I think he might be just on his way out of the pits, in fact. Yep, Snaker just... Oh no, he's just pitting in there. So Snaker is into the pits in the meantime. That'll be for a new set of tyres, new set of rubber. Probably a bit more fuel as well. Should be coming out of the pits very soon. The fuel man will just get out of the way and he should be good to go. The Snaker can now floor it. I'll put the hammer down. Interceptor in the meantime is just coming through clearways and Clark Curve. Snaker not coming out of the pits just yet. Might have picked up damage actually, Snaker. He has got a little bit of damage there, I think, on the left side of the car. You can really see just where the two men are standing, where this rear guy is. There's just a little bit of damage. Looks like he scraped the wall or scraped another car maybe early on. That might be why, and it's taken a long time to come into the pits. In the meantime, Ibrick has just came in behind. So Ibrick is in. He's ahead of him out on track. Snaker is finally coming out of the pits. And we are going to see a lot of action coming out. I think that's Barry just running out straight behind him. And that is not for position. So don't get yourselves too excited. That is not for position at all. But Liz Sig who leads the way with Bax in second, Javier Rand in third. And there's really been no change to the order for quite a while now as Sig loses control through Druid's hairpin. Those tyres are going to have to be worked a little bit harder now with these overcast conditions. And Sig just making that slight mistake. The lap times will begin to drop off. It's a 19.7 last time around for Sig. Watch out for this time around. It could be a 20, it could be a 21 possibly from Sig. And it's 1.3 seconds sector down on his best lap. So Sig, he's going great guns out in front, but those tyres now will have to take a lot of work now to get to the end of this race. And you can really see, in fact, the left side of the tyres really beginning to drop off. And that top right hand side, of course, the soft compounder tyre is the tyre that everyone is running on here tonight. But it is Sig who still leads the way. It's 23 seconds. Bax has just lost a little bit of time as a result, possibly of these conditions, just coming through Pilgrim's Drop and through the right hand at the top of the hill there. He'll come through Dingle Dell very soon indeed, but Sig leads the way through Clark Curve. Lights begin to come on the leader's car. We have lost a driver, sadly, just coming through there. We have lost a driver, and I think it is Math Gamer. Yep, it's Math Gamer that we have lost out of the race. So Math Gamer not going to be finishing this race. Not sure if... Oh, and that is somebody off. Was that Bowie off there? It was Bowie, the teammate of Sig, getting out of the way, letting his teammate through there. Good sportsmanship shown. It was a very difficult place as well. On the inside of the Druid's hairpin, he has picked up a lot of damage as a result. It's going to be in that pit stop a lot longer than expected. But we have lost Math Gamer out of the race, sadly. It is a shame, and we've had our first casualty of this race. But it is Sig who leads the way still, with Bax in second, Javier Rand in third position at this stage in the race. But, of course, Brandt Hatch posting a lot of problems here tonight, especially with the back end of this car and how the car is actually fluctuating through the corners. But in the meantime, I think everyone is coping now well out on the track. We have seen contact throughout the first half of this race so far in different areas out on track. And I think, especially on lap 1, we did have a lot of contact. Ibrick and Snaker, pretty bad incident. I think it was Ibrick going down the inside of Snaker earlier on in the race. Ibrick now ahead by around 38 seconds as a result there of that contact. So Ibrick coming out there relatively unscathed. Snaker now down in 9th place as a result of that contact. He is getting closer, in fact, Snaker to Interceptor. I know it's 9 seconds, but just beginning to edge that a little bit closer at this stage in the race. And everyone, as I say, is spread out like a washing line at the minute out on track, and that's probably the analogy that I'll be using throughout this race. But Sig who leads the way now. Track temperature, air temperature has dropped a couple of degrees since the start of this race. Overcast conditions, 20 litres of fuel, so I would expect the pit stops to start to happen around about 45 minutes from the end of this race, maybe even less than that. I'm maybe expecting between 40 and 45 minutes for most of these guys to come in. And we'll have a rundown of where everyone is at in terms of fuel very shortly indeed. I'm just switching back onto my iPad as a result. Oh, what on earth is happening there? Somebody have taken out the polystyrene board. What on earth has the polystyrene board done to deserve that? Unbelievable. We have lost another driver out of this race as well. I cannot pick up on who it is, but we have lost another driver. It's not Marcos, who is still going round at the back of the field. Great stuff from Marcos. I'm not sure who we have lost. I think it might be Interceptor that we've lost, actually. It is Interceptor that we've lost. So, 2 out, Math Gamer and Interceptor. They're not even 45 minutes into this race, so there's going to be quite a strain now on these guys. Possibly. Not sure if there's any rules or anything that is added in for this race. In the meantime, we have got a pit stop. GTS is into the pits. We'll watch that in the meantime. It's going to be a relatively slow pit stop as a result of the fuel and tyre changes, and of course the nature of this pit stop, and he is rolling out of his pit lane very, very slowly indeed. And there he goes. GTS is away now, out on track. But it is Sig who leads the way, from Bax in second, Javier Ranz in third place. And we're going to be going for around just after 10 o'clock here with this stream, UK time, so that'll be 11 o'clock if you're watching in Italy, and if you are tuning in from anywhere around the world, thank you very much for tuning in to Gavra Racing GT1 Series Round 1 here at Brands Hatch. And it is Sig who leads the way by 24 seconds, for Bax in second and Javier Ranz in third position. Looking at everyone commenting, yeah, the video quality getting worse. Yeah, we did have a bit of a moment with my connection there, so I do apologise about that. That is definitely my fault, and I will own up to that, and I apologise for it in pre-season. You might just have to cope with it. My streaming quality can drop from time to time. It is relatively good, it just can drop from time to time. Marcos then into the pit, and he has picked up a drive-through penalty at 10-second time penalty, I do believe, as well for Marcos, so that is a shame. It's getting a bit more fuzzy. It's probably because more people are getting online as well. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Possibly that is the case. In the meantime though, if anybody did want an update on the F1 Esports series, this is something I was watching before I came live here tonight for the F1 Esports event. It has just finished within the last 10 minutes or so, and I can give you the results of all 3 races. Of course, it was David Tonida that took the first race win out on track, and I'm just gonna get the standings up now, the race results now for the 3 races that happened out on track, and I can give you the races result of tonight's action, if I can find where it is. So, race 1 for F1 Esports, David Tonida took the win, Jano Oppmeyer second, Sally Saltung in third. In the meantime, Sig just coming into the way, I think, of Javier Ranz that was. So Javier Ranz is now being lapped out on track by Sig. So Sig now into, it's only him and Bax that have not been, if Sig goes to lap Bax, then he's lapped everyone out on track. That's what we've got to think now. GTS, by the way, is into the pits. Javier Ranz's teammate into the pits. So David Tonida winning in race 1. In race 2, it was David Tonida again. He took it from Frederick Rasmussen and Marcel Kiefer. Silas Altung finishing 4th in that. And in race 3, which has finished within the last 20 minutes or so, Frederick Rasmussen took the win in Baku after that contact, of course, with Brendan Lee. Somebody off the track though in the meantime here in Gavra Racing. That was Marcos going off track at 30. He's got a left-hander. We are nearly 45 minutes through here, so we're nearly through halfway. There is Sig. That is GT. That's Schwami just coming in. Is into the pits there in the red coloured livery there. The Schwami into the pits. But as I was saying, Fredrik Rasmussen taking the win. Tino Nakarinen was second, and David Tonida was third. And in the championship standings, David Tonida leads the way on 65 points. Fredrik Rasmussen on 43, Marcel Kiefer on 31. So that is the rundown of F1 Esports. If anybody was interested in that, I know some of you might be out there that was interested in F1. then that is an update for you guys regarding the F1 Esports series. Peak times for internet can be really annoying, don't worry about this. And I bet fatigue is starting to set in. Yeah, I think fatigue will be starting to set in here tonight for these guys out on track. Of course, we're only halfway through 45-minute race. This is traditionally the race length that I normally get to see when I do Formula 1 commentaries on F1 2019 for TTG Esports and for League of Europe, for that matter. In the meantime, though, we've got a bit of a battle going on. So enough of me rambling on, trying to talk my way through the stream. We have got a bit of a battle going on. It is between Ibrick and Schwami. Schwami's just came out of the pits. Ibrick now in 5th place, still yet to come in. In fact, he pitted earlier on, I do believe. So yeah, Ibrick actually jumped Schwami out on track. So Ibrick has got a bit of an undercut done there. Very rare undercut, but he's got the move done. And of course these tyres just looking a little bit warmer now for Schwami. They're not really at the racing length just at the minute, but it's now going to be between him and Ibrick for 5th and 6th place out on track. It is Seg who leads the way. It's now 30 seconds. I think Bax has just made a mistake. In fact, Bax just off to the right hand side there, coming into the pits. So Bax is coming into the pits. We are nearly halfway through here in the GT1 series. Ibrick defending off Schwami into turn 1. Schwami about a second off going through turn 1 there. And now I do believe is Max flying behind them as well. No, it's not Max flying behind them. That is Marcos in behind them, the other German racing livery car. So Ibrick though, hanging on to 5th place. Schwami just in behind in 6th. Of course, Baxter just came into the pits. Apologies. Fatigue now starting to set in for me as well. But track temperature though, if you're interested in track temperature, it has gone up slightly. The forecast is now clear. We've changed the weather forecast, so it is beginning to get a little clearer now out on track. And this reflects well, I think, as a result of thinking. And we have got, is that Javier Ranz just in behind? It is. Bax and Javier Ranz then, for 2nd place, coming up towards Druid Tep, and it should be one-way street really for Bax. Javier Ranz, of course, came into the pits earlier on in the session, of course, for that drive-through penalty. Is the Spaniard going to defend this? It looks like he's got a little bit of front wing damage, actually, on that front. I'm just sort of flapping about slightly, but my eyesight going, to be honest. Of course, as I say, fatigue's starting to set in for the drivers as well as for me in the commentary box as well. And it is especially so because I am doing it by myself for this season. Hopefully everyone enjoying the action though out on track, but what has been lack of action in the past few minutes or so. In the meantime, everyone just coming out of the pits. We have got 2 battles going out on track. This is the closest one. There's Ibrick and Schwami out on track. So Ibrick defending off Schwami. This is for P5 and P6. They have got a bit of a, they've got a clear buffer of around 32 seconds to Snaker, who is in fact just coming across the start-finish line now, I do believe. Yeah, that's him just coming through the start-finish line now. So Ibrick out in front from Schwami for 5th and 6th place here. Apologies about my drinking. It is a non-alcoholic drink. It is some the tropical juice that I'm having. Ibrick, in the meantime, leading the way from Schwami, and this is what you're on board with at the minute, 5th and 6th. And in fact, we'll go on board with Schwami, who will try and get Ibrick coming through Surtees now and on the run down towards Clearways and Clark Curve for thingy. And we are 35 laps through. Now, I did make a prediction to myself that we would go for around 70 laps. I think that might be living true, to be honest. We come across the line now. That is Cypher Knight just coming into the pits ahead. They're a lap ahead of, he's a lap ahead of Ibrick and Schwami, so we are getting to see the leaders now begin to pit. Bax, of course, has came into the pits already. Seg is just running through Dingledale now. 3 litres of fuel. He can get around for another lap, I do believe. But what does he do? Does he come into the pits this lap? He might come into the pits this lap. We're very rough cameras once again. I think he's just coming to the right hand side. Short shifting his gears down as well. I think he might be coming into the pits here. He is. So Sega's into the pits, take a very wide entry in. That's what I meant earlier on in the session about the chicane happening out on track. And he is the first to come out of the pits. A very long pit stop here But Sig is into the pits from the lead of the race, and this is the time where Bax has got to try and catch. Bax, in fact, has just came across the start-finish line now. That is not, I repeat, not for position. Bax was lapped. So now, as you can see, the gap now beginning to extend out. It's back out to 15, 14, 13, 12 seconds. That's just going to come down. Ignore the timings on the left-hand side. It is around probably a minute out on track between these two at the minute. But Sig leads the way. We have got plenty of drivers into the pits. Of course, Math Gamer and Interceptor already out the race. Not sure what happened with those. I'm going to try and get a reaction to those guys, possibly on Discord. I'm just going to have a check on Discord now, in fact, and see if we've got any resulting factors as to why they had crashed out of the race. We haven't got anything through, though, in the meantime. So, not sure what happened with Interceptor and what happened with the other one that was out the race. Interceptor and Math Gamer. Math Gamer, that was the other driver out of the race. Hopefully everyone tuning in, as I say, enjoying the action. I am doing tonight, I'm doing, I can't even read English there. I'm not sure if that meant thingy. Cadwell saying he's drinking a beer though in the meantime, and Crazar saying all about the whiskey, all about the tropical juice, I think, at this stage. It's just to soothe my voice down and keep me going. I don't drink alcohol, if you want to know a little bit of a secret and a fun fact about me. I don't drink alcohol. I'm probably one of the only commentators that you've ever seen that doesn't drink alcohol, and we have had a little bit of contact there. In fact, that was Max Cly getting out of the way. He has had contact with the front end of his car, so I think he's had a bit of contact with the wall, I would imagine there. Marcos, by the way, has had the penalty. We'll go on board with that, in fact, and see what goes. And a 50-second penalty for Marcos. His race has gone from bad to worse in the matter of minutes there. So you can really see, that's what you mean by the red hand, the red number on the left-hand side here, where I've got Marcus's name highlighted, just as I go up to Max Play, who's ahead of him. Marcos, with that red over his name, that always means that they've got a penalty. Those of you who are new to tuning in, that is the case here on Project Cars. So it's a bit of a thingy. Don't know what he's been doing to get a 50-second penalty, mind, but you never know. His race, of course, going from bad to worse. Of course, he did start in that top 5 in qualifying, and it is a shame that his race pretty much went to pot right from the get-go. But of course, I think with it being the first race, it is going to be a bit of a learning curve from here for every single one of these drivers here tonight, including Interceptor and Math Gamer, who are no longer in the race. It is going to be a bit of a learning curve. It'll be a learning curve for me as well. We're going to be in this journey together, of course. Sig just running wide briefly. That is Barry just getting out of the way there, I do believe. And that's in behind. That is not Bax in behind. So don't get excited thinking oh, there's going to be a battle for the lead here. That is not Bax in behind. That I do believe might be... let's just have a flick through, in fact. I think that was Marcos. I think it's Marcos just in behind Sig out on track. Yeah, there is Sig and there is Marcos. So Marcos is just behind him out on track, of course. Max Boy has just came out the pits as well. Bowie, in the meantime, is into the pits. And look how damaged that car is. He's had a lot of contact and a lot of spins, I think, out on track. But as I say, it is going to be a bit of a learning curve for these guys. We'll go on board though with Battle for 5th. This is the one I was focusing on earlier on in the race. Ibrick and Schwammy, they've been around 3-4 seconds for the last 2 laps or so now. Ibrick just trying to pull away slightly. Schwammy not giving him any room at all to 15.6 off the lead of the race at the minute, these two. Looking at the thingy, how do you cope with all the Gavra drivers without alcohol? I don't know. I honestly do not know. Alcohol does make pronunciation of some of the PSN IDs easier. It does. It really does. And I think if I was to drink on stream and have a beer or anything like that, or have an alcoholic drink, then it's probably the worst thing for me, because I probably won't know what I'm saying. that's the thing. I wouldn't know what I'm having a Scooby-Doo about, to be honest. And I think it's better to be safe than sorry and commentate on the action for you guys. So you will be seeing me every single week come here with a drink, probably of a non-alcoholic flavour. You never know, I might have a Ribena or something one week. You never know. But in the meantime, we're more than halfway through, as I say. We are now about 38 minutes from the end of this race. It is starting to fly through a little bit quicker now. Track temperature though has gained quite a few degrees. I literally looked up about 2 minutes ago and saw it at about 76 degrees Fahrenheit. It's now 80 degrees Fahrenheit out on track. That is around late 20s, I do believe, in terms of Celsius. That is about 20 odd. And if you guys are thinking, Britain, dry, I know. It's supposed to be autumn. You can really see the autumn leaves here out on track tonight. It is turning autumn here in Britain, where I'm commentating from. And the weather we normally get here at this time of the year is sunshine and showers. We've had sunshine the last couple of days, and I'm not putting the weather off it or anything like that, but we have had sunshine the last couple of days, and I can't believe that we're actually commentating on the dry race here tonight. Donington next week, whole different kettle of fish, as that was Ibrick just getting out the way there of Sig, the leader. But yeah, I know, it's dry out on track in Britain, I know. Probably if you come to this country, if anybody does want to visit the UK, especially after Brexit, and don't get me started about that 6-letter word, if you do want to come, it is a lovely country, it is a very nice country, and from where I'm from, I'm on the northeast coast of the UK, so I'm living pretty much about 3 miles away from the seaside, so it's not too bad. Brands Hatch though miles away from the seaside though. Sig leads the way, 33.7 seconds out on track. Very nice going from him so far out on track. Has dominated this race pretty much from flag fall. 35 minutes. We're just counting down towards 35 minutes to go at the end of this race. Of course, do tune in next week. We have got Donington for you next week, and if you are a rain lover, like I probably am, then tune in for that, because it's going to be quite something. And thank you everyone for sticking with us here in Gavra Racing. Hopefully I've been delivering on a very nice, sophisticated, professional commentary for you guys. Hopefully it's been coming across that way as well. There's not really any battles going around out on track, so it is very difficult to try and commentate on the action when there's nothing going on. Still closest battle, Ibrick Schwami, about 3 seconds out on track between these two. But yeah, I think Ibrick just having the pace over Schwami. Schwami looked quicker last time around, 122.6 compared to Ibrick with a 124.1. And Sig pulling away 33.6 seconds now, that gap, so it is stabilising slightly in the meantime. But I'm just having a look to try and